Well, we are here on Health from the Inside Out, and I wanted to bring up a topic which I know well because we're going to talk about asthma and how to treat it naturally. Now, the first thing I want to say is asthma can often, and I think most of the time, it has a root, a spiritual root that you need to take care of. And I say that for my own life because I wasn't just dealing with asthma that is having problems breathing here and there. I've been in comas. My heart stopped. I used to spend 175 days a year in the hospital, and and tons of medication, expensive medication. And back in 2008, I came across a book by Derek Prince called Blessings or Curse You Can Choose. And I began reading and looking at the signs of a curse. And I just began praying because I didn't know what I was praying for, but breaking things off that could be handed down. And for the first time, I was able to stop my medication and haven't really gotten on it since then. I mean, I was on lots and I haven't had to look at all that since then. But I mean, there's a physical issue happening as well because spiritual can affect the physical. And even in our environment today, the toxins and the things that are being sprayed, there can be and allergies and things there. We see nonetheless breathing issues. Okay. And so I want to give you a few things that I learned at the National Jewish Hospital when I was there for 6 months. And they really teach you about how to deal with, and that's more of a perspective from a medical perspective, but then we're going to talk about natural as well. And I want to tell you, when you're having issues breathing, first off, stop and do not drink coffees, don't drink a lot of things because that's going to create phlegm. But what you should do is get warm water, as warm as you can handle it, a small cup, and sit and take 5 minutes, sit quietly and take 5 minutes and drink 3 of those. And that's going to help things out as well. Dr. Pepper, hot Dr. Pepper has a natural thing in it. You can use that to help along as well. And there is a tea that you can make that has some natural things in it to help you breathe. But don't always run to the medicine cabinet first. Do not do that. Learn what it's like when your lungs are starting to tighten up. And all this again happens after you pray and after you have been standing on the word, and you do that as well. But stopping and drinking warm liquids, really as warm water, not warm liquids, warm water, as warm as you can take it, will really help slow that process down. But there are some other natural things that you can look at as well. And I'm going to go over some oils, but before that, I want to look at some others. Marshmallow root. If you've had a bad cough or phlegm, or it can help alleviate those things, and it allow 2 to 3 hours between taking marshmallow root and other drugs or herbs, because it can slow down absorption of other molecules. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory and is good for so many things. And it's the 3rd most popular herbal remedy on the market today. And it should come as no surprise that turmeric is listed for treating asthma. It acts as that anti-inflammatory. So if your bronchial passages are swollen and irritated, turmeric can help relieve those issues. But you need to use it with caution because there's controversy over what works and interferes with. I'll use turmeric for sure. And I use turmeric for more than turmeric's just good, folks. It's really good. And mullein, if I could have, I would have. We have a lady in our congregation that is growing mullein, and she taught at Sukkot on mullein. And it's amazing, but it is one of the most common herbal remedies for asthma, and it can be used to help stave off respiratory infections that can lead to increased asthma attacks and flare-ups. And it's natural, folks. And mullein sometimes grows wild where you are too. She's actually going to give me some seeds, and I'm going to grow some here at my own home, and I'm excited about that. But mullein, look into it, as well as ginger. Ginger is a member of the bamboo family, and it is anti-inflammatory as well. Remember, so many diseases are caused by inflammation. So this ginger is an excellent anti-inflammatory, and it also relieves stomach issues. If you are dealing with asthma that's related to acid reflux, ginger may be more useful to you than turmeric. Okay, and then oregano. Many people suffering from asthma can tell you that there are a lot of problems that seem to start in your sinuses, and oregano is one of the few herbs that actively works in your sinus tissues and can get rid of sinus infections. Over time, oregano and many other herbal infusions can cause liver damage in some animals. Needless to say, for your own safety, never diffuse uncut essential oils. Okay, those are some herbal things, but I also want to talk to you about some oils that work. And I tell you right now, even if I ever am dealing with anything that has to do with respiratory issues, I go to my diffuser and I put in oils. Now, for me in the past, what I've used are oils that are lavender and lemon and peppermint and eucalyptus. And I use eucalyptus, lemon, peppermint, thieves. And then sometimes I'll add RC or something like that. And I put a couple drops of each in my diffuser and I use it. Now, when you're dealing with asthma, a lot of times you take nebulizer treatments, but I can tell you there's relief when I use those things. But there's more. Another doctor, Dr. Axe, says he puts a different combination together because he uses eucalyptus oil, peppermint, thyme, ginger, and lavender. He says eucalyptus oil helps open up the airways and improves bronchial restriction, and it's a great natural decongestant. Peppermint oil cleanses the lungs and opens up the bronchial passages. Thyme oil helps kill bacteria that cause respiratory infections like bronchitis. Ginger oil reduces your airway constriction, and lavender oil helps reduce the stress and anxiety that can make asthma symptoms worse. So essential oils, remember, do not just take them by mouth. No, you use them topically with something else to make them so they're not straight. I don't have an issue if I put oil straight on my skin, but many do have sensitive skin and that can cause a flare up. So you want to be careful with that. And you need to use common sense when I'm doing a lot of this. Check with your doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't use this as, hey, this is what Sandy said. No, I'm talking just from personal experience, from dealing with a severe case of, and I'll tell you this, mine is odd because when it all started, I was allergic to my own hormones, which is a whole nother thing that the National Jewish Hospital was checking, using me because they hadn't seen much of that. And so they were finding out how to treat that way back then, back when I was young. But common symptoms of asthma are coughing, wheezing, chest tightness, shortness of breath, pain and pressure in your chest. But there are natural remedies out there instead of turning to the steroids. And there's even some natural steroids, which we don't have time for on this show today. But check with your doctor before you use any of these if you feel like you need to, and try it out. But I want to really encourage you, let's pray first and try to do it naturally. When I was on all those asthma medications, some of them were medications that without a miracle, my body no longer produced the things that it should produce because the medication had taken over. And so therefore, to get off of those medications was a miracle in itself, because once you get on all those drugs, it's really hard to get off. In fact, it's not physically possible if your body no longer takes care of those issues without that. So I encourage you, try to do things naturally, if at all possible, because as Mark said, just as the shelves might be empty, who knows if the drugstore will be open and we'll have access to it in the future. I don't know. But God has a natural way to heal and take care of our bodies in everything. So, all right, you guys can come in if you want. We got like 4 minutes. So.
Oregano oil cures everything.
It does.
Be careful how much you put in your mouth, though, because it's massive. But a drop a day, you know what? And most people can't handle oregano oil because it's so stinking strong to put in your mouth. Let me tell you what. Take like a teaspoon or even a tablespoon. Put some Italian dressing salad dressing in there. You're smiling, Sherry, but this works. You put Italian dressing in that spoon, and then 1 or 2 drops of, I suggest starting with 1 drop of oregano oil. And because salad dressing already has oregano in it, it dilutes the strongness of it, and you can put it in on your tongue and it tastes really good, and you're really getting the full impact of the oregano oil. I had to figure that out because I just couldn't handle just putting a drop of oregano oil in my mouth. And Neats is the one that got me started on it. And so I figured out, well, salad dressing's got oregano in it, and it works. I mean, you could actually put it up to a couple of drops, but I highly suggest. Listen, oregano oil will help keep your system running the way it's supposed to go. I mean, the other essential oils are for topical and stuff like that, but oregano oil. 100%.
Well, think about it. It's anti-parasitic, antifungal, antibacterial.
Sure.
So
Sure.
Antiviral. It's all of that. We use oregano. We want that in our arsenal all the
100%. Yeah.
Because it, as you said, Mark, it across the board, it takes care of so many issues. So,
yep.
Sherry, did you have anything you wanted to chime in on?
I was smiling because I was right with Mark on that salad dressing. I was right with him. I was in the same pond swimming around. I was like, yes, yes.
I can take it straight. It doesn't bother me. I'll just do it straight.
I had some that I put,
I can handle it.
I had some I put on my mouth that, and it was like, ooh, this is interesting. So yes, I was right with Mark on that. And but no, my daughter suffers from asthma. Has since she was a little girl. It's something that runs in her father's side of the family. He was born with it.
So that tells you something right there,
yes,
though. Right there tells you.
Roots, yes, spiritual roots coming down through the family line. And she recently went to a pulmonologist, and she was saying, well, I don't know if I really need to go. And they were like, yeah, I think so. But God's been really good on that. And but she'll say, I feel like I got an elephant sitting on my chest, if she would use that analogy. And so that's, so that's some very good information that people can, like we said, we're not doctors or anything else.
So, we're not. I will say this too. For if you are dealing with asthma, I know the first thing you may not want to do is get out there and exercise. But when I was at the National Jewish Hospital, that's one of the things. And I was skinny, so I was this size. I haven't grown in height since I was 11 years old because of all the steroids.
And she's little.
I am short, but that's part of the reason why I'm short. Anyway, and I was this size, 92, 95 pounds. And so I was skinny, very, very skinny, but they had me start, all their kids and patients, you start working out in the pool and you start building up that lung endurance. And I got where I was swimming 40 laps when I went in, but exercise is still important. It may be hard. You may not be able to do much, but you need to push that and stretch that. And that's straight from the National Jewish Hospital in Denver, Colorado, are the ones that create a lot of the drugs. And it's like the place to go from around the world or it was at least then. And I still think it plays on that, but it was the place to go when you were dealing with asthma and things like that. So
people don't realize how serious asthma is, because we do have a lot of the things natural and allopathic and all that. But we had a lady at work that her child died before the ambulance could get there from an asthma attack. So it's a serious thing.
It is. One of the ladies when I was, and I'll be quiet after this, but one of the times I ended up in the hospital as an adult, it was just out of the blue. It was in August. And usually my hardest time as an adult, when I ended up in the hospital was in November, December. And I ended up there, and it ended up being to minister. But the lady, my roommate, was a grandma, and her grandson had just died from asthma. And of course, then I knew why I was there. I was there to minister to her that whole time. And, you know, but it can be serious. So
There it is.
let's, that's why I say, people, let's deal with the spiritual roots of a lot of these issues.
Amen.
And asthma is one. I was prayed for over and over. I believe I was healed, but there was something else standing in the way, and it was a spiritual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Derek Prince said, when they asked him what did they think was the most important book, he said a lot of other things, he had gleaned from other teachers. He said, but the most important book he wrote was that one on blessing and cursing. And I would have to agree. That is, I mean, it really takes it, because you see things come down through the family line and you're thinking, what is this? Why does this keep happening? We're following the Lord, you got to rebuke that thing off. But that gets into another whole episode.
It does. And I just want to say what Misty said, because Misty knew this lady that I'm talking about, her and her grandson. She said, I saw the lady's grandson die from an asthma attack. It was very sad.
Yeah.
Misty and I didn't know each other at the time, but we both knew that lady. And so.
Wow. Yeah. No, it's a serious matter. Sure it is.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. And hey, again, we're not doctors here. You check things out on your own. Don't use our word as excuse.
Where's Nisa when you need her anyway? What's going on?
All right.
She'll be back.
She will.
She's enjoying that grandbaby.
That's right. New grandbaby.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.